We should probably do that right about now, actually. There's a few things. Like I said earlier, I think you're doing a great job on your Facebook page. We're going to dive into a couple of things that we're chatting with the post that you put up on Facebook as well. And then for people that are watching along, you can actually check out the links in the show notes for this show, and you'll be able to check out each one of the documents that we chat about here too. So let's get right into it. Now, I know you were talking about your two young kids. You're raising a family here in northern BC. You have Thomas and Charlie that you're raising here in PG with your wife Elise. So the fact that youth unemployment doubling in 8 years must not only be a solid political move for you as Labor opposition to attack this fact, but also personally as you're fighting for the future of your own kids. I got to ask you, what do you think is the underlying factors of this massive increase in youth unemployment? And we'll just pop it up on the screen here while we... There we go. Oh, it's not coming up. Sorry. 1 second here. There we go.
Yeah, well, while it's coming up here, I'll maybe just talk about the fact that I actually really decided to get into politics again because I'm worried about my kids' future. And this is exactly a reason why. We've had virtually no private sector job growth in this province over the last 5 years. It's been all public sector growth. And what that has led to, we're not seeing small businesses hire that next employee. Those tend to be young people. And when small business confidence is at an all-time low in this province, that's when young people start to vote with their feet. This is a canary in the coal mine for the future of our economy. And things are really challenging right now. We're seeing a massive amount of people, mostly young people under 40, choosing to move to mostly Alberta, many to Ontario for looking for work. This is completely unsustainable. We need to bring hope again for young people. I worked, as you mentioned, Matt, as president of the Chamber of Commerce here, trying to support the business community here in Prince George. I know that attraction and recruitment of new employees is one of the top issues, but young people, we need to find a path for them into the workforce. We need to actually make sure that there are those entry-level jobs that they can grow their careers. And right now we're seeing a challenge in that private sector job creation. So that's something that I'm certainly focused on. I got my working start, as I said, working for my family business, but I also got a job working as a commercial roofing. That was one of my first roles, actually. And we got to find a path for young people to have hope, that get them into the skilled trades, get them into those jobs where they can start their careers, and that's what I'm certainly concerned about. And that's like I said, the canary in the coal mine for our economy and our future.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at your post here too, the numbers are brutal. The province lost 21,600 workers just last month as the youth took a step back from that labor market, as you say there. Where do you think these jobs are going, though? I mean, it's not like the work is disappearing. Why do our youth not have jobs anymore? Are we pushing adults into jobs that should be stepping stones? And then they're using those as jobs that are covering their entire expenses? Or what's the factor that's driving this?
Well, what we're finding, Matt, is that small business owners are working harder than ever. They're, as an owner, they're instead of hiring that youth, that extra employee, they're just putting in more hours themselves. So they're burning themselves out, and not actually, they don't have the financial capacity to actually give some of that work out to young workers. We're also seeing a huge drawdown in that business confidence. Look at the restaurant sector, for example. Massive amounts of closures in that sector right now. And a lot of it is because the cost of doing business is getting much more stringent. Government has changed things like the labor code, the employment standards to add costs. So when the NDP came in, they didn't run on putting in an employer health tax, but they chose to do that, adding all of that cost onto business. They've done things to add up, like 5 paid sick days. Well, that's great, but all that cost is borne by the small business owners, not by government. So government has to look rationally about what we're doing to the cumulative impacts of their policies on small businesses, and make sure that it's something that is financially sustainable, because right now they're barely hanging on by the skin of their teeth. So that's one of the biggest things, Matt. The other thing is a drawdown in major projects. The NDP, we're very fortunate that many of these major projects, the LNG projects, Site C, Trans Mountain expansion, all of these things that were contemplated well before they came into government, were well on their way. They all happen to be in their first term, and they've all been coming to a close in the last couple of years. So now we're seeing a massive drawdown from those projects, but the NDP have not focused on what's next, what's replacing those. They're, maybe desperate right now and focused on some of the wrong projects. Here in Prince George, they floated the idea of hydrogen projects with electricity. It made absolutely no sense to actually go down that path, because we simply don't have enough power for using our electrons to then convert to another fuel and hydrogen. That doesn't make any economic sense, and the NDP were just completely out to lunch on that. We need to find a real path to employment, to job opportunities, for economic growth, and our resource sector is a part of it. Mining is going to be part of it. LNG is going to be part of it. And yes, there will be a future for forestry, but we actually have to put the policies in place that get that fiber into the hands of those who need it, to get more of those jobs in the woods, so that we can actually harvest some of that timber.
100%. No, I can agree with you there. 100%. We need those projects to start moving, and we have to stop being so ideological on some of these things and start making it make sense. Is the minimum wage increases, especially at the speed that we're doing it at, do you think that is a major factor in this as well? Because I know on my side of things, and I mean, look, I'm working with bars, pubs, and restaurants on a day-to-day basis in northern BC, and I see it happen from week to week. The minimum wage goes up, and then I get a call, and I'm asked to help them redo their menus, because the menus are all going up too. While some owners are definitely taking on more of the sweat equity themselves, other ones are just passing it straight on to the community as a whole. I think personally, and my perception is limited, but I think that maybe this minimum wage thing is canceled out at the end of the day. I don't think it's a positive for us, because all we're doing is jacking the prices and making people that are completely desperate for a couple of extra dollars excited for a moment, and not even understanding that they're in a worse place 6 months down the road. So do you believe that is part of our issue here, and what's the way out of that?
Well, I talked, Matt, about the cumulative impact of policy. So certainly, aside from the employer health tax, aside from the paid sick days, minimum wage is another one that is not borne by government. It's actually businesses that are saddled with it, and much of that cost they have no choice but to pass it on to consumers. So it does add to inflationary pressure on, and we've seen high inflation in this province in the past number of years. We've seen some pretty significant minimum wage hikes when it's attached to the CPI. So, something needs to be looked at cumulatively. Obviously, there's a lot of people that support minimum wage hikes, but we need to look at the cost of business overall. We also need to look at affordability for what is going to help young people at the end of the day. And part of that is, we can't have government promising things that are actually going to, promise one thing and then completely turn their back on it. I remember a day when 2017, the NDP, and 2020, actually, they ran on the idea of a $500 rental rebate. We've never seen that. 2024 election, they ran on a $1,000 grocery rebate. Well, they canceled that by December. So all these things for affordability are completely out to lunch and are not helping people. It's no wonder people can't afford to go to restaurants, because prices are going up, and any attempts of government to do anything about it are completely on false claims. So right now we're in an affordability crisis. We need to make sure people do see a future here, and right now young people don't see a future in this province. It's too expensive, and they don't have those economic opportunities.
Yeah, totally agree. The old rebate trick is kind of getting old these days. When the government comes at you with a rebate, it's just because they're trying to make you happy for a little while. It makes no business sense.